Wealth principle number 7, who has your money? We've been discussing the wealth principles of an alchemist, someone who's making $1 million or more, how to go from 0 to $1 million, and not in just make the money, but in a sustainable way. We're talking about net worth. We're talking about how to build something that pays you no matter what. Mike Shine just walked in. He's got the book of the day, the book of the week. Yeah. We were also, while we're doing this, a 52-week course, we're doing 52 books. It's part of the 52-week challenge. If you can learn a new lesson and read a new book, you're going to be ahead of everybody else. In fact, the average person reads 1 book a year. So if you read 52 books and you attend 52 trainings, you're 104 years ahead of everybody else. Does that make sense?
That's awesome.
That's the only way to get ahead in this world. You got to do things everybody else isn't doing. And if you can jump ahead with education, then you can jump ahead in the physical world as well. Because once you understand it, you're able to manifest these things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anybody who's been successful first became successful up here. They started changing how they were operating up here and then manifested that tangible beyond that, what we attracted afterwards. The first step was think $1 million. You have to think $1 million in order to become a millionaire. There's no skipping around this. There's no outside of the thought of making $1 million that'll get you there. The first step is actually thinking it, believing that's possible, thinking it. Second step is choose a business that can earn $1 million. If you choose a business that only makes $60,000, I don't care how big you're thinking, the business can't produce beyond what the business is capable of. The business must be able to produce $1 million. The only way to test that, as we learned in the lesson, is somebody else making $1 million in this business. And if they're doing it in this area, even better. Understand the 4 types of money: income, profit, flow, and equity. Income is money coming in from your efforts. Profit is money coming in from your business efforts. Flow is how the money moves within the business. And then equity is the asset, the actual tangible payable result if you sold the business. Lesson 4 was put all your eggs in one basket. This is from Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett says in the beginning, diversification is actually deadly. You want to put all your eggs in one basket and guard that basket. Step 2 is the part that most people forget. People, easily put all their eggs in one basket, but then they forget to guard it. That's where the money's made, is in the guarding of the basket. Wander, good to see you, brother. All right. 5, build a business to support your investments. This was trained by Mike Shine. Give Mike Shine a round of applause. Thank you for teaching.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, everybody's writing, I understand. Wow.
What the heck? Where was my round of applause?
I did.
Can we give Mike a round of applause? Come on. Just slow writers.
What was the title of it?
There you go. It was build a business to enhance your investments, to support your investments. And the concept for that, when Mike spoke, was he has investments, but he didn't just manifest investments, right? He had to build a business so he'd have money, extra resource surpluses that he could put into his investments. And that's how he started being able to funnel them and have multiple investments. It wasn't just having an investment that spurred another investment. He's actually built a business that allows him to create surpluses afterwards. And that's how we all actually do it, whether you're flipping or an agent or in sales or you own some other form of business, or yourself, you're working hourly and you just save up those little pennies they give you and you store it into real estate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes. So build a business. 6, your business must solve a problem. A business, for the sake of a business, is just a hobby. If the business doesn't solve a problem, it's just a hobby. A business that solves a problem is lucrative. The more lucrative the more problems it solves, the bigger the problem it solves, the more lucrative it becomes. The more people you serve, the more lucrative it becomes. In fact, the book that we're going to discuss today is 100% on point with that. So,
That's crazy. Every time I pick a book, it's exactly what he's talking about, and we don't discuss it.
It's absolutely nuts. He texted me last night at what? It was 6 o'clock? 7 o'clock? I started reading the book around midnight because I committed to Mike. I said, yes, I'll read it. I will get it done. It was in my head, Mike. I made the commitment. So at midnight I start. By 3 o'clock in the morning I was done. Phenomenal book. Go get her. Yeah. Commitment, right? Commitment. It is necessary for success. Last night was no difference. There he is. Good morning, George. How are you, my friend? You found the road all right?
I did.
Nobody on the road, right?
Pretty much no.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So that brings us to lesson 7, wealth principle 7, which is who has your money. If you have a problem that is big enough, there's enough people who have it, now it's time to identify who has that problem? Who has that problem? And second step, who is in a position to exchange dollar bills for the service of the problem? Here's the thing. There's a lot of people on the planet with problems, yes? There's 8 billion people on this planet. Every single one of them has problems. The problem is 99% of them are broke. 99% of them are in the 99%. Only 1% of them are in the 1%, making that $500,000 a year. There's only 5% that are earning over $250,000 a year. So you start looking at it, and the net worth, right? There's only 1% with a net worth of 10 million. There's only 5% with a net worth of over 1 million. So you start looking at it, and the people who have the most problems have the least amount of money. That's making sense.
Right.
So it's hard to pull it or draw.
People.
Well, the large majority of the planet, right? So only 350 million. What was that? There's only 2,300 billionaires, and there's only, I think, 350 million millionaires. Out of the 8 billion people on the planet, it's a small little percentage. So most people are living within that $20,000 to $40,000 range. Right here in the country, in the U.S., the average income is $28,000. So we're in Boston. We're like, oh, really? It's that low? Yes. This is just Massachusetts is a tiny little corner
Go to Mississippi.
of our country.
Yeah, right.
Right. Go to the Midwest. Why does everybody invest in the Midwest? Because it's level. The income doesn't go up, doesn't go down. Neither do the rents. Right. The rents don't go up. Home values don't go up. Nothing happens out there. It's just nothing happens other than tornadoes, right? But this is how we look at the Midwest as real estate investors. We look and we say, yeah, it's the same. It's always been the same. It doesn't really crashes don't really affect it. It does its thing, right?
Right.
So it's stable. Boston, New York, both New England in general, but New York, Massachusetts, California. You look at Miami. You look at any of the major cities, Chicago. These are cities that really pound, right? Atlanta, Georgia. These are cities that just have massive amounts of income coming through. They're a little different, right? So we're up here in Boston, we're like, well, you mean that income's 28,000? That's half of what the average person makes in Boston. The average person in Boston is making 75,000. Well, depends on the city, but 55,000 to 75,000 is the average in Boston. Down here in the South Coast, the average is around 36,000. We're still, even in our poorest cities, above what the entire country is. So I understand there's a little disparity, there's a little misunderstanding there. But the point is, if you're looking to pull a lot of money, think this, 40% of their wealth has to go to housing. 40 to 50%. Hey, oh, we got a rock star in the house. Give Doreen a round of applause. She's a little late, but they say better late than never.
Better late than ugly.
That's better late than ugly, yes. That must be Russian.
That must be Russian. There you go.
So, we're talking about who has your money. A lesson you love, right? Grant Cardone. So the principle is that 40% of their income is going to housing already. 40% is going to housing. So they only have 60% extra. Brady, you mind just closing that door behind you? No problem. They only have 60% left over for other services. Is this making sense?
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at building wealth, I looked at that figure and I said, well, we know that taxes are a big chunk of that. 15 and 20% is going to tax. Uncle Sam's getting their piece. We know that 40% to 50% is going to housing, and then the rest is food and other necessities. So when I looked at what businesses do people actually care about, what do they need, what do they want, it's housing and food, right? Those are the consumables. Can't get around those. Right now it's toilet paper as well. Toilet paper and sanitizing gel, which we have some over there, by the way, if anybody's interested. So it's this small little narrow section that is whatever for everything else, for your cell phone, for clothes, all these different necessities, all these different things that you desire, your cable TV, right? Think about some of the big bills you have. Cell phone, cable, gas, electric. Those are the things that like come through no matter what. And then there's Starbucks. There's things that like go down in tier. You spend less and less money on them. Most people, smart people, spend less and less money on those.
Cable anymore?
Internet. Well, you know what I meant. Internet. No, does anybody have cable anymore? Cable shot. You have like
I'm getting rid of it this month.
you go to like Hulu and you go to Netflix and you get Amazon Prime. Like, all right.
Hulu Plus.
Well, believe it or not, you're probably gonna get all of them. You're gonna end up with Disney. You have to get all these things. That's like 4
I'm
or
paying
5.
$270 a month
Yeah, $270 a month.
in Boston.
What are they like? Come down and like act out right in front of you? It's like it's like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There's a live audience. You're the live audience.
That's what we were doing. We cut it because we were paying
insane.
like $230 and stuff like
Of course.
It's a bundle, but yeah.
Of course.
So what?
So people are paying that for cable. So if you're in the cable company or you start your own little startup where you're just taking other people's shows and plugging them out there, there's business there. We know that Netflix works. We know that you're going to Hulu Plus, Disney Plus. So it's a couple of big chunks, right? It's hard to get into the telephone industry right now. It'd be hard to take over the TV internet space right now, right? Those are conglomerates. They're pretty much covered. But real estate is 40 to 50% of their income. 40 to 50%. It's a big chunk anyway. Does that make sense? So when I started looking at life, I started looking at everything. There were consumables. We could dive in and figure out how to sell more toilet paper to people. We could go and create the Walmart of the world and start selling all the consumables. That's why Walmart and Target do well, because they sell consumable products. Or you can get in real estate, the one consumable product that holds its asset, holds a value, no matter what. It doesn't go bad. It doesn't go down in value over the long term. It goes up and down temporarily. And by the way, everybody holding real estate right now, we're having a great experience. Stock market's in the tank. Everybody's losing money. And we're sitting back collecting rents. Rents came in the same last month as they did the month before, and they'll come in this month the same as they'll come in the month after. Coronavirus hasn't affected our rents. Very interesting, right? People, in fact, are being told to quarantine in their what?
Oh.
Yes! Which we own! They're being told now that their homes are even more valuable. That asset, you better pay rent, because if we kick you out there, you know what's out there? COVID-19. Be aware. To all my tenants, we appreciate you. Thank you for paying on time. Thank you for staying safe in your homes. You guys are awesome. So very seriously, all the rents came through, and my stocks tanked. My stocks, let me tell you, I have some quality real estate investment trusts which fundamentally have no reason to have fallen. Fundamentally have absolutely no reason to be in the dumps right now. Stocks that were $80 a year ago are $28. Like we're talking Blue Ridge Capital, ERP, like really good apartment REITs. REITs that just, the dividends were so slim, I liked the company, couldn't justify the dividend yield. 4%, 5%, not interested. Now they're 9%, 10%. Solid, substantial companies for the next week or so are in just a position that, I mean, I'm like, oh my God, like it's on sale, right? And I don't want to divert too much from this lesson, but this is a time, it's an opportunity where things have opened up. And if you have money saved, and the intelligence, like, one, let me say, do not go invest if you've never invested before. This is not the time to learn the stock market, because you'll get beat up just as badly as any other time in the cycle, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have companies that you trust that are fundamentally strong, this is the opportunity to dive into it. Me and Mike are talking about buying Berkshire Hathaway last night, right?
That's right. It's on sale.
It's $100,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
It's nearly $100,000 cheaper. It's like buying a $350,000 house at $199? $199? $299. Jeez. It's still up there.
Yeah.
But it's like buying almost a $400,000 house for $300,000.
You should explain. There is a B share.
There is a B share that is at $200,000 right now,
Berkshire
right?
is Warren Buffett. I don't know.
Berkshire Hathaway, if you don't know, is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, if you don't know, is the Oracle of Omaha. He's considered the most intelligent, best investor on the planet. Him and his business partner, Charlie Munger. Literally some of the best. Charlie, in fact, is the person who quoted one of my favorite phrases of all time, the first 100,000 is a bitch. That came from Charlie Munger, and it's true. The first 100,000 truly is a bitch. In fact, I'm posting a meme about that later today. Heads up, you guys know before everybody else. So who has your money is a seventh lesson for a reason. First, you have to get through all the mindset. You have, in the rest of these lessons, you'll see a lot. Continuously is mindset, but who has your money is the next step. Once you've decided, you've committed to your success, you're thinking $1 million, you've built a business for $1 million, you understand why you're building the business for investment, you understand the way money flows. Now it's time to start looking at who has your money. Every single person on this planet has to spend money on their housing. They have to. There's money being spent on housing. They have to spend money on their food. They have to spend money on the things that entertain and fulfill their lives. Pick a niche within that. I've chosen real estate. And then once you've chosen your niche, identify who needs that niche. There are some people in Mexico who will never buy real estate here in Fall River. It will never occur. So I can't say the whole planet is my client. Does that make sense? Biggest mistake people make when they first jump in the business. You're a real estate agent, right? Biggest mistake they make when they jump in the business, they say, everybody's my client. I'm working with everybody, right?
Yeah, you get found out.
Where's, you found out really quick, not everybody's your client. Where are you licensed?
MA.
Massachusetts. So your client has to have a desire to buy in Massachusetts. So it helps to identify and narrow down. Amanda, you're licensed in Massachusetts as well, right? What type of person have you typically talked to? Single family or multifamily?
Single family so far.
Single family. So, well, I know we're gonna work. I know you want to be work towards multifamily, but you've worked with single family so far. So single family buyers. Has anybody ever talked to a single family buyer? Somebody who's old, like they just want to buy a single family, just want to own a single family. Realtors in the room for sure. Attorney, right? Have you ever tried talking to them about a multifamily?
That's so well.
The conversation doesn't go well at all.
At all.
It goes really bad. It's actually almost offensive to them to talk about a multifamily. Who here owns multifamilies? Yeah. Who here owns a single family? Who here owns both? Well, George, right?
Yeah.
If I said 3 years ago, sell your single family, buy a multifamily, what would you have said to me?
I would do it because I know.
Well, what would your wife do to you?
Until this day, I mean,
we're not
she
sure
just
the
don't get the
space.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. You play a
I
game.
mean, there's a word to describe that, but I better not say it.
The camera is live. Look, she may not be watching, but she might.
See how quickly that single family
Mhm.
mentions the word broken toilet. That's
Broken
the game.
toilet, right?
That's the game.
As soon
Within
as-
10 seconds.
As soon as you talk about
I'm not fixing
a multifamily, you hear broken toilets. You hear, I don't want to fix broken toilets, right?
I've said that.
You said that, Jacob. You've said that. Tarina, how many units do you own?
Me?
Yes, units.
8.
8. How many broken toilets have you personally fixed?
None.
None. All right. I just want to check. I just want to make sure that the theory is the same.
But they've been broken.
But they've been broken.
Yeah.
Because toilets break, right? It's just a part of the life, right? Have you ever fixed your brakes in your car?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. Okay, but that's
Not personally, no way.
not personally. Okay, personally, you've never fixed the brakes in your car, right? You never gone and like fixed your engine in your vehicle before. You hire professionals to do the job, right? You never gone and has anybody had surgery done on them before? You wouldn't just be like, scalpel? Bring the gloves. I've got this. It's the same in real estate investing. It's the same thing. But we hear that. We hear, I don't want to fix broken toilets. So as you're diving into this business, you got to start looking at who has your money. It's typically not the 35-year-old female. Right? The 35-year-old woman is the perfect buyer for a single family home. If you're a realtor and you don't know that, write that down. Right? The average typical buyer of a single family home in real estate is a 35-year-old woman. And a step further, she's in a committed relationship.
That's not.
That's not you. She's in a committed relationship, either married, committed relationship, or 9% is actually a single woman who's just doing her own thing. So but they typically buy condos, they're smaller price values. So it's important to know your demographic, right? If you don't know your demographic as a real estate investor, who your client is, you're in trouble. If you don't know your demographic as a real estate agent, you could be hunting in the wrong rooms, right? Who has your money is about understanding in detail who actually serves you, who actually has your money. Now, going a little further, right? So we're identifying, we know that 35-year-old women typically not going to be the client. Although in this room there are 3 of them who happen to be real estate investors. I want to be in that mission. 4 of them. I got you. Oh, 5. Oh, wow. You know what? Okay. So this is a very unique room. This is a very unique room, and I think one of the reasons is because we're pulling from other rooms. We're pulling from other places where people are talking about investing. And so here, and Jacob said this before, this room is powerful. This room, everybody in here has, at some point, thought, I want to make more money. Gone to the first step and said, that's even further in. This is a 4 times a month event. 4 times a month. That's a more intense group of people. We agree you guys are intense? Mm-hmm. You guys are looking for more than the average person? Mm-hmm. Yes? Looking for maybe millions?
Yeah.
At least 1 million? Multi-millions?
Yeah.
Nobody in here is afraid to say that. Other rooms, if I say who wants to be rich, 1 or 2 people raise their hand. In this room, if I say who wants to be rich, everybody's hand goes up. I got 2 hands up, right? So then the understanding of who has your money is really the most important step. If you can get past the mindset, if you can get past all of the other pieces, understanding who has your money becomes the second most valuable step, because after that you gotta go contact them, yes? Mm-hmm. Sales and marketing and going and hunting and finding that person is the step after. Too many people come into this business jumping to that step, thinking if I build a list and I mail the list and I call the list and I text the list and I email market the list, I'm gonna get the deal. But the list is too big. Typically when people come to this business, the list is too big. David, good to see you, brother. You want a list of 200 to 250 people tops. The human mind can only remember 150 to 280 people. So if you're building a list beyond that, you're losing things. You're slipping. You're losing people's names. You're losing relationships. Very easy to remember people's favorite color, favorite stories, names of their children if there's under 250, right? You get beyond that, you got to use database. You got to use other people. That's what big companies do. Who here is a big company? Or who here is a single investor, an individual investor? Yes. Maybe you have a partner? Okay. John, you can come on up, man. Who's this beautiful lady you brought?
That's okay.
I'm his partner.
Hey. Give them a
That's
round
the
of applause
money
for bringing
lady.
your partners.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice. So we've dialed it down. We know that we're moving towards an ideal client. There are 2 clients in every transaction. There is the buyer and the seller. Right? In real estate, you have to have both sides. So for you as the investor, you start off as the buy side. You start off as a buying client, but in the end, you still have to go sell that product to somebody else, whether you're leasing or selling the building. So there's 2 clients that we have in real estate. And typically it goes beyond that. When you get into other niches, you'll find other clients. So I have one client is the seller of the property, the person who's in a desperate situation, who's selling me that property. I have the second client who's the tenant, who's in a desperate situation. They need a roof over their heads, especially with COVID-19 out there. They want to make sure that they're protected in their homes, nice and safe. So if anybody needs some sanitizing, I know, I love it.
You're getting some weird joy out of this.
Because I feel like our product has become more valuable. And so it's like, oh my God, people see the value of their homes now, right? It's this whole extra, like I love my home. My home is like a sacred place. It's set up, I feng shuied it, like it's set up, designed 100% for me to be happy and positive. So when I go home, it's just like, You know, some people go home and it's just, when I go home, I'm just like, I'm lit up. I'm excited to be home, right? I know my tenants feel the same way, or I hope they feel the same way. But now I know they do. Now at least they're sealing the door behind them thinking, we're here, we're good, we're safe. This building to me is the same thing. Anytime I get in these walls, I know within a few minutes you guys are showing up. The energy rises, right? It's gonna be a better space. I have a third client. I have you. I have people that it's time to train, to teach, to get to the next level, to build up. Because on the other end of that, there's partnerships, there's friendships, there's relationships that are way more valuable than the money we'll build together. So for me, I look at that and I say, hey, this is who I want to hang out with. This is who I want to spend my time with. This is somebody of quality. This is somebody that I value and I appreciate. That is going to be way more valuable because we're going to help a lot of people together. Right? There's alchemists in the room. Who's been at one of my events where you got the bracelet, the wristband of power, right? Get the money, get the deal, Right? So you've already been trained on what it means to be an alchemist, and I'll give you the definition. An alchemist is somebody who turns people into gold, turns leads into gold, takes a deal, turns it into gold, transforms themselves into something better, transforms the people around them into something better, takes people to the next level. Right? The A stands for abundance. We got A everywhere, right? The A stands for abundance. Alchemy, abundance. Just how do we turn this into a better situation? How do we make more from ourselves, more from the people around us? And when you really grasp it, finding out who has your money becomes so much easier, because you start really looking for, how does my business solve a problem? Who specifically does the problem, who has this problem? And you could say, yeah, it's the seller as my end client, but what I've discovered is sometimes my distant end client is actually my main client. The tenant who I eventually want to service is usually the person who knows about a bad landlord. The bad landlord, we're taught that a desperate seller, motivated seller, is the person that we want to go serve. That's our client, that's our end user. But I genuinely believe that they're the in-between. They're the middle. They're the person on our way to our serving our client. They're actually our job. Now, our second job is obviously provide safe, clean housing, quality housing that makes people feel good and safe. What's up, Helena? Good to see you. Wish you were here. We're missing you. Jake is sitting here in his chair all lonely. So it's okay. He replaced you. He brought somebody else. What's your name?
Maureen.
Maureen. He brought Maureen. She says hi. So
Wow.
I know. It's a tough crowd. I know. It's rough.
I upgraded.
That's all I was waiting for. That's the end of the punchline. Elena's happy. She's online. She's learning. She's taking notes. Marsha, we miss you too. So we have the abundance, and when you come with abundance, you start looking beyond the obvious, the obstacles. If you look at the seller, yes, we have to serve the seller. You have to treat them with respect. You have to treat them well. But ultimately, your real client is the end user. It's why do you go get that unit in the first place? Not to get rich, right? Getting rich is secondary. It's to service the client, the tenant who's going to need clean, safe housing. And what sometimes happens is a tenant will call me and say, hey, my landlord really sucks. Can you buy my house? And then I ask them the simple question, what's your landlord's name? Give me their phone number. Sure, I'll reach out. You know, are they in a desperate situation? Do you want to put them in a desperate situation? No.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Not to another landlord. But I know, right? That's called blockbusting. It's illegal because I'm a realtor. So we're not allowed to do that. I wouldn't encourage it. That's putting competition out there. But by going out and putting posts out that say, hey, if your landlord sucks, let me know. Message me. Send me a message. Let me know. I'll buy their house. Do you need a better landlord? Eviction court? Great place to meet. Right? You go in there, those are great places to meet both sides. Both people in the transaction, you can serve with both clients. And you get the tenant who's upset, you get the landlord who's clearly upset. Both of them are not happy if they're at, me personally as a landlord, anybody ever been to housing court? Landlords, yeah. Are you ever happy in housing court? I mean, I put the smile on. I'm like, buddy with my tenants, but at the same time, I'm like, why are we here right now? Why are we doing this? Just pay your rent, right? Or when I evict you, just leave, right? It's plain and simple. That's a space where you know there's a problem, right? We make money from solving problems. Does your company solve a problem? Does your real estate investment company solve a problem? If you can find two people with the same problem, even better. This is making sense. And this is just one example of a way to look at your business. And this works in every business, every industry, all across the planet. It doesn't matter where it is. Financial advisors. You find that the older generation sees more value in financial advice, right? The younger generation is like, whatever, I'll get there one day, right? Desperate situation. They need the service because they're running out of time. And so it becomes, there's a pinch, there's a squeeze. Sellers, motivated sellers, I find are typically older. They're 55 plus because they're starting to run out of time. They're starting to realize that, wow, I've been holding this property for a very long time and it's not getting any better, right? Or things have changed. Every so often a city changes its clientele. Fall River at one point was Jewish, then it was Italian, then it was Irish, then it was Polish, then it was Portuguese. Now we're moving to Puerto Rican, Cambodian. It shifts over time. And so the landlord that came in and did really good with this niche suddenly doesn't do well with the next. This is no judgment, it's literally just the reality of the situation. You as abundant alchemists don't have to be that way. You can adjust to people, you can learn new languages, you can learn new cultures. But people in the past, right, the landlords who are still out there not getting trained, not moving forward, in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, have a different situation. The people who have our money, right, who has your money is the goal. The people who have your money have a different way of looking at life. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't have your money. There's a dog, now, okay.
No, we can't.
What's the dog's name?
Kinza.
Kinza. She's a little shy, it's cute. So, 55 plus, write this down, 55 plus, they've been in the home more than 10 years, and they have equity in the property. It also helps if they have a little more motivation. If they're looking to move to Florida, if there's been a death in the family, if the tenants have stopped paying, again, we're talking about housing court, those are good pressure points. If the interest rates have gone up on adjustable rates, if they're commercial owners and interest rates have gone up, which we may not see for a very long time, I miss you guys were talking about high interest rates, love high interest rates as a real estate investor because they force prices down. Hate low interest rates on the purchase side. On the owning side, obviously I want my rates as low as possible, but I'm not concerned, I'm gonna pay those things off quick. It's really the price in the end of the day that really makes us our equity and our purchase power. So I hope for high rates, I'll be real, except for towards the end of our portfolio wealth, and then I want low interest rates again. But I don't think we're gonna see it.
Because you're selling into a 1031 exchange to get something.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I honestly, in a high interest rate market, do better. In a high interest rate market, I do way better because, one, I can afford it because our properties cash flow well, and two, the prices are lower. In a low interest rate market, everybody can buy real estate. Everybody can get in, which makes it less easy. More competition, supply and demand. If everybody can do it, it's almost like you're better off going somewhere else. Which is why we invest in multifamilies, because people are afraid of the toilets. If we were in a high interest rate market, we could invest in single family homes and it'd be no big deal. This is making sense? But in a low interest rate market, we have to move to the more difficult properties. We get into things that other people are afraid of, things that are more technological, things that, not technological, but they take more knowledge, take more skill. They're a little more intensive. Intensive is the word I'm looking for. So your sellers are gonna be motivated because they're older, they've been there for a long time, bad tenants, sometimes the house is in disrepair. A lot of times they haven't had insurance on their buildings. So looking for buildings that are uninsured is extremely lucrative. Those are signs that the person's getting desperate. The only person who doesn't insure a building is somebody who's tight on money, right? Or short-sighted. This is an unsavvy investor. Go ahead.
How do you know if a building's uninsured?
Yeah, you check. You call your insurance company and say, hey, you know, how do we find out if this building is insured or not? And then ask if they can run a check. They can check.
Oh,
It's just that they're not going to make any money, so you have to have a really good relationship with them,
with your insurance agent.
with your insurance company. But you can go on listsource.com and you can type that in. That's a search criteria for insured or uninsured. And they do this because they're scared, right? They're already thinking contraction. They're already thinking, well, you know, I don't need that. It's not a big deal, right? But insurance I insure for double the day I close,
Yeah.
right? If I have anything like, by the way, this is advice, a little off topic, but if you buy a house and you have to do renovations, insure for after repair value.
Right.
Because the one time you don't, it's the one time you wish you did.
Right.
It's called Jewish lightning, and this is literally what it's called. And it's where something goes so wrong, but you actually get paid double. Or you get paid out, and now you can actually build the house, and everything works out. Because you're being intelligent with your money. You're insured for what it's worth in the future. It's future worth. I think it's just because Jews are smarter than us with money. I don't know what it is.
It's not true.
It's not true. What's your nationality, Mike?
I'm Jewish. But anybody can succeed. It's just what you said. Spend your time on studying, learning. Jews don't have bigger brains or anything
I'm
like that.
impressed by you, man. I'm just saying.
You read books?
Yeah.
He does.
There you
He
go.
does. He
Lots
reads
of
all the
books.
books.
I listen to podcasts, and the Jewish this is a big generalization, but we emphasize education.
Emphasize education, and that's been the secret with Asian cultures, with Jews, with any society that's done very well. Emphasize education, the right education, right? The right education, and it's very important to understand that education is not all created equal. Education towards building wealth, towards serving people, those are skills that are important to learn. How to serve more people, scaling it out, those are important. Education on who has your money and how to find them, those are paramount. But education on, I don't know, how many like Care Bears there were in the world and what colors and what they did, wouldn't exactly move you forward, right?
What you order.
Right, so it's...
Care Bear's there.
The Care Bear's there, right? Alright, so before we move further, I want to bring Mike up so you can go over the book of the week, which is The Go-Giver.
Yeah.
And Mike, again, phenomenal choice because it seems like that's exactly what we were talking about last week, this week, and next week. It's all about moving forward and helping more people to move forward.
All right. Thank you.
Is it gold or gold?
Go.
Go.
Go giver.
Oh,
Kind of like go getter, but go giver. So there's the book, so people can see it. So this book, The Go Giver, is really short. As Walter said, he read it in 3 hours. I read it on a plane. But it's an amazing book. It's a little story about a go-getter by the name of Joe, and his meeting certain people. And what I thought was cool right off the bat was it teaches the 5 laws of stratospheric success. So isn't that awesome? You could learn the 5 laws of stratospheric success.
Who's the author?
Oh yeah, so the authors, there's 2, Bob Berg and John David Mann. And so just quickly, there are 5 laws of success. There's the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much you give in value, how much more you give in value than you take in payment. The law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them, which is just what Walter said. I said that's crazy. The law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. The law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. And the law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. It's a great book because it's a story, so you'll just fly right through it, and then you want to go back and read those laws, and it's just a simple way to success. So I highly recommend it. Woo! And just a little forward for if you read this one quickly. Next week's book, if you want to get started, is it's a little bit of a turn, but it's called The Simple Path to Wealth. And so that's a stock book because everybody's slamming the stock market right now, and I think it's time to realize that there's blood in the water, so it's a great opportunity to get into the stock market.
Guys, give Mike a round of applause. Awesome. And he's right. And if you think about who has their money in the stock market, it's the same thing. We're servicing the actual clients themselves. So the large companies, when we go in and we buy when the market's still, we create more liquidity. We're evening out the stock market. We're bringing their businesses back up to where they actually belong. So true investors actually serve the market. We balance things out. When the market goes too hot, we sell off, and when the market goes too cold, we buy in. We actually service the market and balance it out and make sure that it's a safer place for the companies that are trying to operate, who are losing cash when they really need liquidity. Especially in a time like this when the market's down, this is when companies should be expanding. This is when a company wants to go take their money and reinvest and go back and create more marketing so that they can take more sharehold right now. Whereas when we take all that liquidity away, it freezes them up, which causes more of a spiral. So as investors, it's our responsibility to dive in when we see a good quality company on discount, because that's us saying, hey, here's a little more liquidity. We believe in you, we trust you, and go forward and do your thing. So there's people out there in every aspect where who has your money makes sense. You guys are getting this? Excellent. So moving forward, we got about 15 more minutes left. I want to make sure that you guys leave this with a very clear idea of who has your money, so that you can go hunt after them. There are two people, as I see it, as a wholesaler, as somebody who's buying property themselves, as a landlord. It is one, the seller is the obstacle, but they are somebody who has your money. Treat everybody with respect. Treat everybody with the goal of adding value to their lives. When I meet a seller, the first thing I do is get to like them. You gotta fall in love with them. The first thing you do is you fall in love with that person. You're like, hey, whatever it is, their hobbies, I don't care if you have opposite opinions, find the beauty in everything. Right? There's literally, everything has beauty in it because somebody else sees that. Right? So if you can see it through their eyes, you'll start appreciating their lives better. That's a gift. But once you have it, it can't be taken away. When you start learning how to appreciate people, everything opens up in front of you. So the Go-Giver talks about that, going in and just really caring about people, showing interest, becoming influential. The second part is receiving. We'll talk about that in a second. The second person is the end user, the tenant. Understands your moral, ethical duty to go and create more housing. If we don't create more housing, housing prices go up. Supply and demand. Everybody has heard rents are really high? Mm-hmm. Rents are really high. It's our fault. Rents are high because we're not creating more housing. Right? If I go slapping 1,000 units here in Fall River, rents will go down dramatically, I guarantee you. If you drop another 100,000 units in Boston, rents will go down dramatically, I guarantee you. You want to cut rents in half in Boston, go put another 500,000 units in there. Put 500,000 units in Boston right now, you'll cut rents in half. They'll be same as Fall River. We're getting this, right? The reason rents are so high is because developers aren't doing their job. The reason rents are so high is because the city is creating restrictions and not allowing developers to do their job. Who knows a developer who would throw up a building tomorrow if the city let them do it? Yeah. There's plenty of them out there. There's reasons that rents are going higher. Yes?
If you dropped a 100-unit building, does that also make prices of houses go down?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely. Supply and demand. The more supply we put out there, the lower the demand becomes. Rents are a function of lack of inventory, right? Home prices are a function of lack of inventory. So the more units we put on the market, the lower the prices go. So there are the competitive investors out there. We talk about competition creation at all times. There are competitive investors out there who don't want to see other units put on the market because it brings their prices down. But no matter what comes on the market, you can always improve. You can always do better. You can always create a better experience for your clients. And that's what the Go-Giver is all about. You can always create a better experience. There's a story that he tells about the guy who owns a restaurant in that book, and he talks about how we started with a hot dog stand. And the hot dog stand didn't sell the best hot dogs. It sold the best experience while eating the hot dog. He remembered your name, remembered your color, he remembered your activities, the things you talked about. So when you got there, you felt like you were hanging out with your best friend. And it felt really special. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so that experience you can bring to your clients. You can bring to your clientele, your tenants, your sellers. My tenants love me, and I love my tenants. We have fun. Whenever we're hanging out, it's a good time. I've bought them drinks, we've high-fived, we've hugged, we've had selfies together. My tenants are people, just like anybody else. Now, I ask that they don't call me for the toilet issues, but they also have the ability to call me if my property manager's not doing their job, right? It's just a different experience. I'm also looking to build them wealth. I'd love to see all my tenants millionaires. Or I'd love to see each and every one of you out there making money, being rich, being abundant. Every tenant I have knows I'll help them buy a house. Every single tenant knows I'll personally put them with a realtor who's going to go and help them find their right property. I've helped a few of my tenants go and find property, and now they own 2 properties, right? In fact, my first tenant ever, first one I acquired, I didn't put him in the building, he was already there. He now owns 2 pieces of real estate. Or he's hunting for his second piece of real estate right now. But he bought a 3-family. Changed his life. Completely changed his life. And he told me this was maybe 3 years ago. He told me, I was like, I see what you're doing. I want to help you get there. I want to help you get there. I want to build with you. He started painting my apartments for me. And he still paints my apartments to this day. Because if I'm going to throw money to somebody, I'm going to throw money to an investor. I don't throw money to somebody who believes in the same thing I believe in, which is adding more value, right? Going out there, creating better housing, quality housing. And he's a great success story, and I want to see more of those, right? I want to see all of my tenants one day being out there doing what we're doing. Your client needs you to show up The people who are looking for lower rents need you to go find a way to be more creative. Find another unit, find more space. Do what it takes to go and get that zoning approval, to get that basement unit. Do what it takes to get that attic created, right? Split your units up. Does the city make it easy? No. No, they don't. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? But if you take a 5-family, turn it to a 6-family, and you can create more parking in the backyard by, pulling out, doing a curb cut, doing those extra pieces that the city requires, you're putting one more unit on the market. One more unit that wasn't there previously, and you're gonna reduce rents just a little. It's just a little effect. But the point is, you'll get more money by splitting that unit up. Me and Ron know. We're doing one right now. We have 2 combos. Somebody at some point made a double unit. They took a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom. They were side by side, and they combined it and they made it a double unit. So now it's a big 3-bedroom apartment that we get $900 a month for. $900 a month for 1,500 square feet.
That's insane.
And what?
2 bathrooms.
And 2 bathrooms.
Nice.
So we did the moral, ethical thing to do.
Put a wall in.
We went in there and we slapped the wall in. Cost us
There you go.
$400. We put a new tenant in that unit for $950 on the 2-bedroom side. $950 more than the $900. And on the 1-bedroom side, we're in the middle of renovation, but we'll get $800 for it. Other $975? $975. They were $1,000, but we actually moved them from another unit that we sold. So we worked it out for them.
Nice job.
We dropped their rents down a little bit. We did. We moved them literally from a mint condition unit to a new unit that was not the one that they agreed to. So it was the right thing to do. But we made $106,000 on the sale of that condo, so we were willing to make some concessions. You guys get that? It's okay to make concessions.
Yeah.
Service the client, right? So on that 1-bedroom, maybe we're gonna spend $15,000, $20,000 to go and convert that unit back into a 1-bedroom, but the bathroom's there, the plumbing is there, it's just a matter of doing the extra work. But now we're putting a whole other unit online. A whole other unit that people didn't have previously. We're known for doing the opposite of this sometimes because there's other clients that we serve. Sometimes it's not always tenants that we serve, sometimes it's end users, the actual landlords. Some people can't buy, and this is a strategy we've used before, some people can't buy a 5-family. You guys know why? Realtors know why, right? FHA, owner occupied, so they can't buy the 5. So sometimes we'll take a 5 and we'll cut it down to a 4 because it's a different client we're looking for. We're servicing that client who needs the 4-family. Who here knows everybody wants a 4, not a 3? All right, investors would rather, investors want a 4-family, not 3 families. But if you're owner occupying it, you can't get the 5. So we service a different client. So when I say add units, cut units, there's no right or wrong. It's dependent on who your client is. How do you serve them better? How do you go to the next level for your client? When we're looking for a sale, we service the purchase side. When we're looking for tenants, we want to create as many units as we possibly can. And in reality, to bring rents down, that's really the mission for real estate investors, to create quality housing at a good price. If we can bring the rents down and make it more affordable to people, we're doing our service. And if we can add more value by giving them a good experience, we're doing our job. This is making sense. Yes. Who here would like to see rents a little lower? Yeah. Who would like to see rents a little higher? Same here. Create better quality units. It's so simple, right? It's so simple to get rents up. Create a better quality unit. Create a better experience for your clientele. Very simple. There's guys right here in the city who are getting $1,800 a month for a 2-bedroom, right? I get in a 2-bedroom $1,000 a month. They're getting $18,000. You know the difference? Location. Granite countertops, waterfront views. They've spent the money they've invested to get to those locations that people are willing to pay more for. If that's what the quality product you're looking to create, then there's money that pays for a quality product. I personally, I've always been a fan of the middle range. I love the people in between, right? I love all people, but I came from the middle, right? And so that's where I hang. That's where I want to pull people up. It's hard to reach all the way down and pull them up, but that's why Broke to $250,000 was written that way. It was written so that you have the mindset of, $250,000 is easier to attain than $1 million. Right? The $1 million, only people in this room will read $1 million books. Does that make sense? Outside of this room, broke, that word makes sense. And then $250,000 is a smaller dollar amount than the million. So it seems reasonable for people when they get into it. That's my people. That's the same people I rent to. I love the middle class. Like, I don't want to keep the middle class doing its thing. The middle class is designed not to exist forever. It's designed to move to the other side. The middle class is purgatory if you're religious, right? The middle class is that middle range. People say, oh, the middle class is getting squeezed. That's okay. It should be squeezed because that's what it's designed for. It's a moving class. It's not designed to stay still. The poor needs to be adjusted to the middle class, and the middle class needs to move to the rich. That's just how it works. There's enough for everybody. If you don't believe there's enough for everybody, just go west, right? Literally get in your car and drive west and try to find people, try to find things, right? There's so much land out there. And this is just in our country, right? There's so much land out there that we could double, triple, quadruple the planet and we'd still be fine. We got Asia is massive, Russia's massive, right? Australia, there's like just kangaroos out there. There's so much room for us as a species to grow and continue to help more people. So the world is abundant. It's just a matter of us connecting the middle class and pulling them up and giving them the requirement that they pull somebody with them. Does this make sense? So I go off on a tangent sometimes. So, who has your money? Do you guys have a clear idea of who it is now? Or at least how important it is?
Yeah.
If your business is slightly different from the business I'm talking about, if it's slightly different from rentals, if it's slightly different from wholesaling, then take the same steps, take the same process, follow it through and say, who is it that has such a big problem that I have the skill to solve? And if you find a huge problem that you don't have the skill to solve, are you willing to learn the skill? Or are you willing to partner with somebody who has a skill? Because that counts too, right? So right now I'm looking to hair salons because I really love hair salons. And I really believe that especially women have way more hair than we do, but I believe that women deserve to feel pretty, right? Like this, if you've seen my trainings on hair salon, anybody seen them?
Yeah.
So I believe that when a woman feels good about herself, she makes more money, she's happier, and she just treats everybody around her way better.
Amen to that.
Amen to that, right? Yeah. So my mission is to make sure there's more of those on the planet. I love the feel. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, if you haven't seen them, you should see them because it's an education in any type of business. I started watching just on a whim, and I just couldn't get over how many pieces of advice applied to other businesses. So I would watch them, even if you're.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Give Mike a round of applause. I'll take that.
Good, Mike.
Business is business is business. And what I love about the hair salons is they're actually servicing the community. They're adding value, right? They're creating a positive space outside of their sphere. When somebody, like if you do it right, you get somebody to take a picture of themselves when they're looking great, they post it on social media and everybody feels how awesome they are, right? Everybody's liking, hearting, like, oh, you look amazing, right? So you can really spread that positivity through hair salons and different avenues, right? Everybody understands that a selfie is my thing, right? It's something I do often because I love how everybody is happy, smiling, happy, putting it out there. Facebook is a better place because I exist. I'll say that, right? It's a better place because all of you exist, right? My agents all at the closing table take pictures, they're smiling, they're tagging people and supporting each other so that message is getting put out there in the universe, right? That abundant message. Yes, it helps our business, of course. That's a second to everything that we do, right? Your business is going to grow no matter what if you're doing the right things, if you're looking to add more value and service people. But by letting people know that there's money in this, that there's something good on the other side, that you're a positive person, being the advancing man, being the advancing woman, the person who's inspiring people with a message of growth, you're going to change people's lives. You're going to change their lives for the better. By going and finding who has your money and then inspiring them to do something that allows you to serve them is one of the biggest things biggest values you can do, add to people's lives. Like sales, everybody says you shouldn't sell, it's annoying, right? People don't like sales. But in reality, if you're not selling, you're disadvantaging the person in front of you. If you have a good quality product and you're not selling it, you're putting that person in front of you you're doing a disservice, a disadvantage. So tying who has your money with the next week's lesson, which I'm not going to give away, but it is it related to finding these people and servicing them. If you don't do it, not only are you missing out, but they're missing out. If you don't take the time to figure out who has your money, all the lessons after this are going to be useless. So dial it in, figure it out. Find people who have pain and say, am I willing to serve this client? Am I willing to serve this pain or not? On the other side of this, don't serve too many different types of pain. The less types you serve, the better. You should serve one pain, make it a powerful pain, right? Make it something that more people have or have in a high abundance, and serve that. Because the jack of all trades serves among jesters. The master serves among kings. And before I head out, I want to tell this little story. So I was hanging out with this gentleman. His name is Alex the Nazarene, and he owns Lex Diamonds in New Bedford. Anybody heard of Lex Diamond? So, yes? Alex Nazari. Nazari, that's right. Yeah, he says Nazarene to remind me of how to say it. Okay. So, Alex Nazari, and what he said is, he's like, I serve, the rappers. He's like, all their jewelry, he knows them, he serves them, like that's what he creates. Something so unique, so special. And I was like, yeah, okay, nice, And then he shows me pictures and videos of him with Snoop and with The Game and all these other rappers. And I took a step back and I was like, what advice were you giving me a minute ago? Take advice from people who know what they're talking about, right? Take advice from people who have served in my master. And he said, look, and he said it just like this. He's like, my watches are not for everybody, but for the people they are for, I'm the only one they can get it from. Because I'll do whatever it takes to make my watch that unique, that special, that different. And people will pay for that.
Oh, yeah.
So you make your service so high quality, serve a problem that people have that cannot be served in any other way, and you'll find that abundance comes towards you. People say, and when we get into real estate, hey, serve everybody's your client. Money's in the niches. The riches are in the niches. The deeper you go down into the niche, the more money you make. Don't be afraid to say no to the client 20, 30 minutes away. Say yes to the client in your city. Don't be afraid to say no to the person who wants to buy the single family or the condo or the trailer park or whatever it is. Say yes to the people who want to buy exactly what you want to buy, what you're best at, what's most complex. Multifamily is more complex than single family. In the beginning of the business, I committed to be better at multifamily than any other investor, any other agent. And I built a business on training and teaching real estate investors how to buy multifamily, teaching agents on how to buy multifamily. And if you ask anyone, I'm the best at it. There's nobody around here who can run a transaction faster than me and make less mistakes than me and make sure that the client gets more money in their pocket on the way out. It's just, but it was a decision. It was a scary decision because everybody told me it was dangerous to go that way. Everybody said, oh, well, multifamilies are more work. They're more difficult. They're more complex. There's more pieces to them. Right? You got tenants. It's a lot more stress. The open houses are complex. I'm the only one who does open houses on multifamilies. I can do 8 in a weekend. The most complex type of, anybody ever go to a multifamily open house?
No, I never.
They're complex. They're difficult to do unless you have a system. Have you ever been to my multifamily open houses? Yes. I'm one of the few people who actually does them. But it's how I serve my clients. And it's how you get to the next level. Don't be afraid to niche down. Don't be afraid to get so deep in the niche that now you only have a handful of clients. Because when you only have a handful of clients, it's real easy to build those relationships. It's real easy to, hey, I've just got to switch what I do. I service the largest investors in my city. I service the largest investors in the area. When they need something, I'm there. Whether I know how to do it or not, it doesn't matter. When the largest investors call me, I pick up. When I see them doing anything, I'm involved. Because that's where I want to hang out. That's the people I want to serve. Is this making sense? They may or may not ever use me, but if they do, it's a payday. And if they don't, they know I do it anyway. Does that make sense? Be willing to put it all out there. Be willing to walk away with no money and serve the people that you believe need your help the most. Become so specialized that nobody else can play the game the way you play the game. This making sense? Get so deep in the niche and find out who has your money and go after them. We'll talk about that next week. So, any questions? Any questions? Book of the week, Go Giver, get it, Wealth Principle of the week, find out who has your money, serve them, yes. We'll be back here next week, 10 a.m. Saturday. When you have a choice, always invest with the best. There was one thing I wanted to say. Hold on, there was something I'm missing. Jersey, yes, thank you. So we're going to Paul Fink's. Yeah, thank you.
Wasn't
Perfect. Yeah.
It was actually.
So we're going to New Jersey for Paul Fink's event. It is the 26th, 27th, and the 29th. 27th to the 29th. Thank you, John. 27th to the 29th in New Jersey. This is the Maverick Millionaires Success Live. How to double your income. If you're an investor, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're somebody working a 9-to-5 and you want to get out of a 9-to-5, if you're looking to double your income, if you're looking to make more, increase your wealth, this is all the mindset stuff that'll push you along forward. We have Mavericks in the room. We have Maverick Alchemists in the room now. And the combination has been very valuable. If you have any questions on that event, shoot me a text, send me a message. I want to see you there. Cheers to your success.